Breaking news here on this Tuesday, The Absolute Truth. We have learned that Dr. Stephen Hatfill, a special advisor at the Health and Human Services Department to Secretary Bobby Kennedy on the subject specifically of pandemic preparedness, has been fired. Dr. Hatfill was a key figure behind Kennedy's decision to end grants totaling in the millions of dollars to BARDA to develop more mRNA technology. He also served in Donald Trump's first administration, during which he promoted the use of hydroxychloroquine to treat the COVID-19 virus in the early months of the pandemic. Now, when Dr. Hatfill joined this show back in August, he talked about the ultimate goal of the administration for what he was with, the Strategic Preparedness and Response Office. And here's what he said. Watch.
Our goal at ASPR is readiness and response. This is truly getting rid of these messenger RNA vaccines was truly make America healthy. Yeah, there's some press releases, and I've written several papers. It's with Miss Spear at the moment, but going into more detail and with some references. If it's electronic, you can click on it. It'll take you right to the paper. So, we'll see if those come out.
But Ms. Spear was hesitant to release those papers, and sources believe that it is, in fact, Stephanie Spear, Kennedy's principal deputy chief of staff, that is behind Hatfill's ouster, along with several other disappointing firings of late at the Health and Human Services Department. Joining us now is a former senior advisor to Bobby Kennedy at HHS, as well as the head of Calamo Press, Mr. Gray Delaney, for more details on this. This is another disappointing moment for the MAHA coalition. Right, Gray? Hatfill was a real champion for ending the mRNA jabs and ending the development of the technology. He was also for reasonable therapeutics and real pandemic preparedness. What do you make of his firing? This happened over the weekend, correct?
Yes, it happened on Saturday, and this is a huge loss for MAHA and for Secretary Kennedy. I'm not exactly sure who was behind the ouster yet. Details are still emerging, and hopefully Dr. Hatfill will be able to come on and speak and defend himself and explain exactly what transpired. But I can tell you that in working with Dr. Hatfill, he was driving the most substantive changes at HHS. ASPR is the Strategic Response Stockpile, and they are overhead of BARDA, which is the Biological Research Division. And really at the heart of the corruption of HHS was BARDA. He was the one that drove the decision to cut over $500 million in funding for mRNA technology for respiratory and COVID. It was him who met with Secretary Kennedy, presented the evidence that saw that through. His colleague, John Knox at ASPR, is also aligned, and we need to really rally behind John Knox right now. I was contacted last week by an MSNBC reporter, which I did not respond to, who said that she was working on a profile on John Knox. And I said, oh, that's interesting. So why? And I sent that along to Hatfill and to my friend Rich Danker in Public Affairs. And I just don't believe that there's anything in coincidences. And so all of a sudden she's running a profile on a very little known official, John Knox. So who told her to write that? And then all of a sudden, a couple of days later, Hatfill is fired. So there's something that stinks here to high heaven, and we need to figure out what the heck is going on. And I think, and I'm very disappointed to learn that Secretary Kennedy has not called Hatfill, and he was fired by his chief of staff, and he refused to resign. Probably what I should have done, but he refused to resign. And then next day he attempted to access the building. His key card was denied access. So there's someone of that stature, with that background, with that credibility, and if you ever have an opportunity to meet him or heard him speak, the depth of knowledge he has in immunology and virology, if you just listened to him on your show and then also on War Room with Bannon when he explained that the 7-minute devastating takedown of the mRNA technology, he has the goods. He knows where the bodies are buried, and that's why he had to be taken out. So the question is, who directed his firing?